What? Hey everybody, it's Favorite Dolphin of the Badlands here to talk about a little something. And yes, I know, it's been a while since I've uploaded, just don't rub it in. Anyways, it's July, and you know what that means? It means we might be getting the heavy update this month. Woo! Unless, Valve did what they did, last year. Hopefully this year we don't really overhype it like we did with Jungle Inferno. I mean, it was an okay update, but maybe this update might be a little bit better. And just like last time, I'm going to be doing the 5 things I hope happen in this update. However, this does exclude new maps, taunts, war paints, bug fixes, etc, etc, etc. Because, well, that's sort of given in this update. I mean, we should have it. If we don't, that's kind of weird. But let's get started. Without further ado, here's the 5 things I hope happen in the heavy update. I'm going to say this first every single time before it happens. Random crits do not belong in TF2. It is a crutch. It's a mechanic that's super broken and actually rewards better players depending on the amount of damage they do. It just sounds so dumb and idiotic. Not to mention all the weapons that give crits or mini crits depending on the situation, it's kind of pointless and would probably be better off being removed entirely. Especially since Valve is trying to make this game feel a little bit more competitive, which even though I don't necessarily agree, it's not really a good idea to have weapons deal like triple damage at will with no damage fall off. That's just asking for stupid things. And while we all have a love-hate relationship with it, I think this should be the update where they finally go the way of the dodo. Honestly, I don't like loot crates in video games. You're pretty much paying real-world money to get a chance to get something that's worth more than you paid for. And TF2 is no different. You're pretty much paying $2.50 per key to open up a crate to have a chance of something that's worth more than what you bought the key for. Now, there are some occasions you will get something that's worth more than the key you bought to sort of even out the trade. But most of the time, you'll be getting something that's worth 30 cents out of a key that you just bought $2 for. It's pretty much just gambling disguised as loot crates. And that's why I don't like them. I actually had a pretty interesting idea on how to fix this. You know, like those keyless cosmetic crates that they added in Meet Your Match? How about we make all of these crates keyless, but then you just simply increase the rarity of them so you don't get one every time you start up the game. It makes unboxing stuff so much easier, and you don't have to waste $200 for stuff that you'll get to unbox stuff that will be at the very highest worth about 30 cents. Not to mention, we won't be seeing any more of those inventories with like 6 pages of crates on them. And man, I feel bad for those guys constantly getting those crates. I'm not really thinking this is going to be a realistic idea, but it's a pretty interesting one. I love MVM so much. You get to work as a team and you're like fighting robots. Sure, there are the toxic people, but most of the time you're going to have a very awesome time. But it's been a long while since we got some MVM content outside, just the new upgrades for the new pyro weapons from last update. I mean, like, the last time we saw an update for MVM was 2 cities, and that was a long time ago. It's a pretty fun mode, and I think most of Valve's revenue from TF2 comes from Tour of Duty tickets. I don't know that, but I think that's what it's from. And I really want to see some new MVM content, as like new maps, new missions, like new loot for completing missions, maybe even like new Australian weapons, even like unusuals with sort of MVM themed effects. Pretty much anything that changes up MVM at this point will be awesome. I don't really consider this mode dead, nor do I think Valve considers this mode dead, because they did add some new upgrades for the new pyro weapons that came out. So at least they nodded their existence, which was awesome. So, while it's pretty unlikely that we're going to be seeing any changes to MVM, it'll still be great to see some new stuff coming to one of my favorite game modes. Auto balance has been a huge issue ever since this game came out. I mean, everyone hated it. I mean, like, you're having a good time playing this heavy on Dust Bowl, you're about to cap the final point, and then you get killed by a spy, and then you're auto balanced, and the game's over. You lost even though you carried the team. And They got rid of it in Meet Your Match, and we automatically see how bad it is without it, because we ended up having games of 12v4. So then they decided, hey, we'll actually allow people to volunteer to be on the other team, but come on, who's going to leave the winning team just to get some bonus XP points, which overall doesn't matter in the first place? Then they re-added auto balance for the Blue Moon update, and, well, needless to say, it wasn't really taken back by the community much, because nobody volunteered, and then they just forced people on the other team, which I'm not really a big fan of. And I was thinking about ways to sort of fix it, so we don't have the issue of being put on other teams when the last round happens, and you're about to cap, and then you get put on the other team, but we also don't have imbalances like we did with Meet Your Match. And I've been playing on a lot of community servers lately, and I actually thought of a pretty interesting idea. A lot of community servers actually put bots on the other teams to sort of, balance out the game in case there's an imbalance. And this would actually be a brilliant idea for, like, casual games. Sort of have, like, bots with different skills depending on how good or bad the team is. So if the team has a pretty bad team, then you just have a more experienced or more higher difficulty bot. And if the team is really good, they can have sort of a player that's not as experienced, or, like, at a lower difficulty. And then when a player joins, or the player joins the other team, the lowest scoring bot will be removed from the game, and then the new player will come in and take his place. Now, I'm not going to say this is going to be realistic, but it is one of my silly little ideas, so, just one of my silly little ideas. But if Valve does add this to the game, it actually will stop the problem of imbalance without, having the issue of auto balance. Now it's time to talk about the big part of this update. Heavy's changes. He's getting some new weapons, some new balance changes. It's going to be nuts. It's going to be a lot better than Pyro changes, because we haven't gotten many Heavy changes in a while, like major changes to him. And I kind of feel like he deserves it, because honestly, I feel like Heavy is the least satisfying class to play. Not saying that he's the worst class in my opinion, he's just a class that I don't really find that satisfying to play, unlike Scout, which is always satisfying. He moves really slowly, even slower when revved up. His minigun is pretty unreliable outside of close range, and while he does have a lot of health, he's a really big target and can easily be taken down by almost any class. What I want to see out of these new weapons is sort of making Heavy a little bit more fun to play outside of, just revving up Sasha and just unloading. I really like the creativity behind Pyro's weapons in Jungle Inferno, because it pretty much predicted everything I said in my 5 things I hope happen to the Pyro update. It was fun weapons, it changed up the Pyro's prey style, and it was unique. It wasn't like a crit gimmick like literally every other Pyro weapon in the game. And I hope Heavy's weapons are a little bit similar. And one weapon I really want to see will happen is sort of like a single shot minigun, like the Dragon's Fury, but for Heavy. Because Heavy is currently the only class in the game that doesn't have a single shot primary. All of them are automatic, and while automatic weapons might be really powerful in real life, in TF2, they're sort of outclassed by the single shot weapons. And I also want to see some new Heavy weapons that sort of just changes up the Heavy's playstyle outside of just using the minigun and or using the unreliable Fat Scout tactic. Also no crit gimmicks. Please, just no crit gimmicks. We have more than enough of them in this game, guys. Also, similar to the flamethrower changes, I just want to see some changes from, like, Heavy's base class, like the vanilla class almost. Something simple maybe, like a slight movement speed increase, similar to what they did with the Spy and Meet Your Match, or something along that line, But I really hope the new changes to Heavy in this update will make Heavy a bit more of a fun class to play. And hopefully we'll be seeing some more Heavy mains after this, outside of Rider Cycle. I also really want to see the TF team actually put some more, like, balance changes into Heavy. Because they didn't really do much to the Pyro in his update, outside of just the Reserve Shooter and the Flamethrower changes. But overall, I just want to see Heavy's sort of arsenal change. Because outside of stock Tomislav, Sandwich, Second Banana, Fist of Steel, and maybe the Globes of Groaning urgently and Eviction Notice, all of his weapons are bad to subpar at best. And some weapons I kinda wish weren't like that, like the Brass Beast, Natasha, the Locust Bar, Warrior Spirit, like a lot of weapons are pretty interesting concepts, but when put into playtesting, it's really, really bad. So yeah, those are the 5 things I hope happen in this update. Hopefully we'll be seeing some great things happen. We get to see some good changes in the positive, and hopefully this update will fix Heavy and make him a great class once again. So anyways, this has been Savvy the Savage Dolphin, and thank you all so much for watching this video. Now go back out there and destroy some things. In the game, not in real life. Don't commit vandalism or anything, please. Just make sure to follow the rules, people, and don't forget to eat your vegetables and turn in your library books on time.